everyone. We're here for Friday's Growth Intention, personal and professional development call. The book for this week is an old favorite of mine and one that I lean on very, very, very often with my clients, Miracle Morning. And the reason this popped up on my radar, I had two of my one-on-one clients working on their morning routine and their evening routine. And I was in a 3-day training this week on conscious leadership. And Hal Elrod, the author of this book, was in the training with me. So I was totally fangirling. I was like, please, please, let me get in the breakout room with him. Didn't happen. There was 150 people on the Zoom, but I was just, fanning all over the place. So,
One.
Yep. So that's the training that I did. And it was led by a company called Exchange, and based on the work of Dr. Danny Friedland, who passed away last year. And it was really, really good. And I will say it was a great reminder of how much I already know about mindfulness and that connection piece, and the connection to your morning routine, really allowing that to fuel your day and to work at nighttime on that nighttime routine that fuels the next morning, which obviously turning off electronics, getting to bed at the same time all the time.
Oh yeah, sure.
I do. I really
Do
try
you?
to bed at the same time every night.
Cool.
Yeah. Whether my husband probably thinks I'm crazy, but yeah, that's important to me. Then I wake up at the same time every morning and I'm not tired, and kind of fuels that. So takeaways, who read the notes on the book? Judy? No. Larry, you've probably read the book, Miracle Morning. No. Okay. All right. I'm going to pull it up and share my screen then, because I feel like, well, this summary is from Short Form. It's a company. I pay for my membership with Short Form. There's numerous other book summaries that I like. I like Headway. I like Read It For Me. I like Heroic. And it's all kind of based on your opinion and how you like to digest your information. What I like about Short Forms is they literally give you a 1-page summary that you can print out. And that's what I usually share in the Idea Lab. If you belong to it, they give you a chapter by chapter summary of the book, which is much more detailed. So one of the things that really stands out for me is this overcoming mediocrity, which basically means the top successful people in the world all have a morning routine. So if you don't have a morning routine, how do you expect to be successful? And 95% of entrepreneurs want to scale their business, do more, make more, work less. They want all of those things. And they believe that working more, pushing, hustling, whatever, is what's going to get them there. And this book really argues the fact that when you work on yourself with that great morning routine of meditation, exercise, affirmations, and some journaling, that you really push yourself to that next level of knowing yourself. So what happens? You know your clients better and you're able to help more people. The first takeaway is rear view mirror thinking. And that is basing or viewing your current choices through the filter of your past experiences. And this was really interesting to really go into that, because instead of measuring yourself or measuring new opportunities based on the past, I've never done anything like that before. I'll never succeed at that type feeling. You're basing your future on those past experiences. So I'd love to start our conversation there. Where are you basing future success off of past either not success or not knowing what to do? Morning, Casey.
I think I've become very conscious of the stories and
Mm.
trying to shift away from it. Like I just did a presentation last night, and how I prepared for it was very different than how I have prepared in the past.
Oh, say more about that.
Usually I prepare in kind of isolation. Like I prepare it, I do my thing, I practice. And this time I asked my partner to work with me for the past 10 days on content and clarity and being vulnerable of taking information and opinion on how to make it better. Didn't mean that I always wanted to follow that information, but it was a way to elevate the quality of what I was sharing.
Mm.
And it felt really, it was hard. It was very hard, but it was very beneficial. And because I'm not getting the results that I want, I'm like, okay, you've got to try something different. And this is a step towards different. So just becoming aware of patterns, if they're not getting you where you want to, you have to choose to do something different.
I like that. So the conscious choice of doing it a different way. Really, now what kind of feedback did you get?
Just on clarity, on flow, how to talk versus how to just be in my own space versus creating a talk. How to draw people in, how to be more engaging. He's like, they haven't read the same damn books you've been reading. Just talk to them. Like they just get out of your head and just talk to them.
Oh, that's such great feedback.
He's like, they don't need to know what you just read. They don't give a shit. They just want to know how it pertains to them. Just because if I asked you a question, you would answer it very differently. When you prepare your talk, you have a different voice. How do you bring helping me merge that together?
Yeah.
And it's hard and it's not easy. And it's certainly not, I don't want to use the word fixed, but it's not there yet. And I'm starting to see how it can be different. And the delivery was much better. Like it felt better. And watching the audience, I had like people nodding their head, engaged. So, it's a work in progress and a good shift to preparing and doing something different. And I really need that for some other upcoming stuff that I'm doing that I don't want to do it alone. I can't do it alone. And it's only going to be better if I'm willing to take insight from people who are important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Larry, did you want to say something?
Yeah, Lisa, that was great. I'm right in the same spot. So I did a workshop yesterday for Grand Connection. It was about 2 hours. It was about 40 people there, I think, that some people I brought in, some people they brought in from their membership. And I'd done the same workshop like 2 months before in Mary Lee Svayer's group, Marketing Mastermind. In Mary Lisa's group, the response was like really positive. Like they were sparked. They loved it and they did it. And there was no issues. In the Grand Connection group, I felt like I was watching these deers with the headlights right trained on them. And I was like, what am I going to do now? And I tap danced my way out of it, but I could just feel the energy in the room collapse, and I know the problem, but so why is the problem? So the problem is, I like, I'm at the Stanford MBA level. Yeah, I just am. That's where I'm at. And they're in, kind of general track high school. And I don't want, and so it's a refusal to live in reality.
Mm,
It's
on your part.
refusal on my part.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, no, I want to work with high performers. Well, you know what? My business isn't there yet. I don't get to do that yet. Now that'll happen. I know it will, but it's not where I'm at now.
Mm,
So I've got to adjust this for different audiences, and I'm fighting it. And I don't want to. So I'm wrestling with myself over it. Now you seem to have been you're a little further along, I think. I have this realization now where I'm like, all right, enough of enough. So on my Thursday workshop, I get about 20 people a week, and I'm really throwing a lot at them, and they're keeping up. But I can tell there's like, Larry, take a breath. Not another idea. Just give them a chance. Give them a chance. And but I don't want to stop.
right.
And
But
you
that
hit,
group, read the audience, read the room. Like that group, I can, because they know me, they're coming for me.
Mhm.
So they know what's coming.
it's the ability to pause. He's like, because where I start, he's like, cut, less. He's like, you're cramming an hour presentation into 10 minutes.
Yes,
They
exactly.
don't
Yeah.
they don't need the MBA. They need what's important to them. And it's hard because you have so much information and you want everybody to get to be where your hopes and dreams of where they're going to get. But we have to remember that it is their space, their next step, their journey, and
Yeah.
it is about them. And it's hard because you spend your day consuming all this information and you want to just bring everybody along with you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But
But
they're
you
not
can't
coming
give
with
them
us
that
if
much
we're-
information and then they absorb it. They're only going to absorb the first
Yeah.
few pieces. So you only need to give them the next step, and
I
then they'll
went
have
to
to come back
exchange,
for more.
Yeah.
Just a few bullet points, not all of them.
all of them. Yeah, I went to exchange, and Suzanne, I know you went there as well, and they're very good at showing you how to do that.
And
Anybody
And
wants to see that?
and it's almost I will say through learning that approach of and my mentor told me this too, and I fought it a lot. Was by knowing yourself more. So knowing my own knowledge base, knowing my own experience, and really owning it, it almost becomes I don't have as much to throw up on people as, and so that allows me to step back a little bit and share one thing, one insight, and pull people along rather than like force people along. And at least that's how it feels. And by I have an intention through my journaling in the morning of the message of the day. The message of the day is for me, but 9 times out of 10, I share it in some way in my content or a video or an email to a client. So by paring down, now I still have all that knowledge in my head. I would argue Larry's probably one of the only other people who's read as many books as me and has as much training and background in his head that I do. And when you've spent that much time learning from all different people, you want to just teach it all. You want to just show it all. Like, come on, aren't you excited about this? No, we're not. We're not excited about that. We're only excited about what we need. That's it. So if you remember that, this is what my mentor said. If instead of talking at your people with everything, sit with them and have a conversation about how that one thing is going to make a difference for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And and also,
Sure.
your audience, your people are where you once were.
Right.
And you have to speak to where they are in the process, and knowing that when you keep them with you by not overwhelming them, they will be with you later and still when they're able to
Yes.
get to the point where you are today or yesterday. And you will be able to share all of that you want to so badly. But at the moment, they are where you used to be. They're not where you are yet. There's a big difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so true. And yes, Lisa, the other Lisa, has a bird that talks whenever she's
Oh,
on.
is that what's going on? I hear
Yeah.
all this chirping.
Yeah.
I'm going, I know I hear a bird.
Yeah.
I'm looking around, my windows are shut. I'm going, somebody's got a bird.
No, it's Lisa's bird. She's going to show you the
I'm
bird.
going to show you my boy.
It's really cute.
Oh, he's very busy.
He's busy.
He's got a lot to say.
That's funny.
He's supposed to, he's a parakeet.
Mm.
I need to get a cat, but I can't get a cat because I have mice, and can't get a cat while I have him. He's about 11 years old. I was told parakeets only live till they're 5 or 6. He thinks he's a macaw. He's
Oh.
going to go on for decades in his own mind.
That's awesome. All right, I'm going to share this next talking point, and this has been huge, and this is one of the reasons I have a community in the first place, is looking at your circle of influence. We all know we become a product of the people that we spend the most time with, right? That circle of influence, those 5 people. And if you're surrounded by negative, complaining, lazy people, you'll be like them. Yes, 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 we know that. But I want to just say, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, and you need to spend time with people who are looking at the same goals as you. So spending less time with the people who pull you down, who don't want to hear your message or who don't want to work on themselves, and then surrounding yourself with those who believe and encourage you. This is 100% the idea of having a tight-knit, close community of other entrepreneurs. And one of the sole reasons, selfishly, I decided to have a monthly call just for other coaches. 18 months ago, I said, I need to have these conversations, and I'm not having them in my current communities. I'm going to invite 4 of my coach friends who are at the same level of business as me, and we're going to have these conversations. And they loved it, and they invited more people. So could it be as simple as making your own circle of influence? Maybe. And I'd love input on that or comments on that. Who's in your circle of influence and who needs to be removed from it? Who needs to be
What happens
invited
when you
into it?
outgrow your circle?
What's that?
I said, what happens when you outgrow your circle?
Mm,
Because I had that happen.
that's
And I had
totally
a coach, I had a coach tell me,
fine.
this has been a couple years ago now. Maybe you need to buy your new circle. Like his point was, I needed to up my game of who I was investing in as a coach, because that was one of the people that would be in my circle. And instead of the circle that I had at that time, because I had I would be in the room, kind of like Larry was saying, you're in the room and the people, they just look at you like deer in the headlights. They don't get what you're saying. They don't understand what you're talking about. They don't have a clue where you are going. They were lost.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that, I've only been in this community 3 weeks, but I have disengaged from other communities because of this community, that it is the first time in a long time that I'm on calls that are interesting, talking about, like, there's depth, there's knowledge, there's like, I'm not looking at this going like, why am I here?
Mm.
And I feel like I'm finally finding a space where I'm learning information that I don't know. I'm not introducing myself to the same people with the same story because they're not getting me anywhere. Like, I want to be here.
Yeah.
And there was not working. And it's kind
Yeah.
of like, oh, fear of missing out. And I'm like, you know what, screw it. Like nothing, like what's going to be different tomorrow than it is today, unless I choose a different group of people to be around other
Right.
people who I don't know.
Right. And I think that's so important to remember. Go ahead, Judy.
I mean, the question I have with it, definitely you don't want to be with the group you've outgrown. I mean, that's, you always want to have people at least at your, at your level. But I'm wondering about the relative benefits of having groups that are with a variety of levels of expertise, some that are higher that you can see what they're doing, that can help, support and encourage you, others that are facing the exact same thing right now, and maybe a few that are learning from you, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if it's better to have that variety in a group, or if it's better to have them all the same, where it's the same problems to discuss, like in a mastermind type of a thing. I'm just curious what people's experience is.
So if it's okay to answer, I think
course.
that you have your scope here and you have those levels, and then that level doesn't serve you and you go to the next level that has the same thing, but they're at a higher level of where you're at. Is kind of how I'm feeling, that the conversation changes, or for me, I'm finding it needs to change.
So you've
That
outgrown those people, and now
I
you
want
need
to
to find the
be, I want to
new
be on the
circle.
lower level of an up and coming group versus the top level of that smaller group. And not to say that I'm not willing to give, I'm willing to give in so many different ways. Right now, I need to be here so I can learn to get there again.
Yeah.
My experience with
go
it.
ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Suzanne.
No, go ahead.
My experience with this was that I started a group with speakers that were coming to speak in my forum every week. And, I got a decent amount of people sign up for it. And then we started doing a weekly meeting, and a core group sort of emerged from that. And it was a really amazing mastermind style meeting. So it was very deep. It got deep, and I just basically asked a question and then let the group kind of go and sort of facilitated and participated like a member. And that circle really was meaningful for me. And then I don't really know why it fell apart, but I kind of let it fall apart. And I'm reviving it again as part of my virtual campus, which I just started a couple of weeks ago. And I feel like it's a little different. And I'm concerned because with the speaker level people, I was bringing in people who are kind of from a mindset standpoint already there. Whereas now it's a mix. So we'll see. It's like, which way is it going to tip? And like Suzanne, I kind of did it for myself.
Well, I think to say it should be a mix. When you have the mix, there's people that I get inspired by every day. There's people that I'm inspiring every day. There's people that we're inspiring and helping each other all the time. And I think when done correctly, I mean, this is just one of my beliefs about community in general, whether it's a coaching cohort, a call you have once a month, doesn't matter. The people who are the givers and the receivers, right? That reciprocal person, they kind of rise to the top. And then the people who don't get that kind of drift away.
Leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. You said something interesting earlier. We were talking about the format. Does anybody be curious just to get a conversation around what formats have you seen work really well? You know, what has failed
As
for
far
these
as
sort of small,
like having a call.
I'd say like the 8 to 15 member kind of smaller mastermind kind of groups.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's there's certain
Paid
things that
or
work.
free?
Good question. I guess both. I don't know. Is it that different?
I think so.
Hmm.
You know, this call I've had standing on the books for probably 6-7 months, and I would say there's always this many people here, though the people change once in a
Hmm.
while, right? Depending on the topic or the book, I think that attracts certain people.
Hmm.
As far as my coach conversations, what keeps that going is me not being the sage on the stage,
Hmm.
me being the guide on the side, which is something Exchange teaches very well. And I learned in another facilitation that by me being the leader, the facilitator, and inviting people to learn from someone I learn from, that has way more credibility than me standing on the stage spewing my stuff. Now I try to balance that out with opportunities that do show me in my expertise and, you know, my zone of genius. Obviously that's what attracts clients to me, so
Right.
it's kind of like a balancing thing.
Yeah, that's good. One of the things I learned and I started using was Sparketypes. So the idea of the Sparketype was you kind of figure out what your natural inclination is of what you really want to be doing. And for me, it was learning and teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So they call it Maven Sage. And there's problems with all of these.
Yeah.
So people don't always want me to do that, but it's almost like I can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help it. So I'm learning, I guess what we're talking about, like I love the way you're talking about this. And what I learned from that other group is to use that somewhere else. So what I'm doing now is I'm recording a lot of video content
Mm-hmm.
where I get to be that sage role, which is what I really want to be doing.
Yeah,
But then I don't have to do it here because you need the outlet. I need the
you do.
outlet for that thing. Otherwise I get
Yeah.
frustrated because I just want to teach people shit. I don't really want to facilitate. I want to teach. But I
Well,
can't,
let me
it's just
ask
not
you
the right
this.
thing to
You
do.
know, how, when it comes to teaching versus, like, I'm not teaching anything on this call. I'm facilitating a discussion
Right.
about being a better version of yourself, making some suggestions. Who are you hanging out with? How can you elevate that? So I enjoy that piece. Now I enjoy teaching as well. I enjoy coaching more. Um, they're all kind of necessary parts of what I do. The key is to balance it, right? To balance it in a way that feels authentic to you, it feels real to you, and it feels like you're making a difference, and then the money shows up.
Right. The sage is sparking insight. The counselor advisor
Mm-hmm.
is working people through the process side by side,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very different.
They are.
And you have to know where it is. And then you have to know, for me, and talk about myself. I mean, I always go into the sparking insight part.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's not the right thing, like you're saying with this group, because
Yeah,
you're being the advisor kind of
right.
role.
Well, I like ideas all day long, but I
But
can't give them all the time
yeah,
because then I'm out of the relationship with people. If I'm just giving ideas to people all the time, that that's not good rapport. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing that. Community connection, education, and support. Yeah, I have to fill all of those hats, but I'm also looking for my members to fill all of those hats right along with me. And that that's hard. It is a hard concept to grasp. And are you going to attract people to you that don't fit that mold? Yes, but they're going to leave themselves because it's not right for them. Let's bring it back to your morning routine and how it relates to the things that we're talking about. Where's your morning routine lacking in that future vision piece? I'm going to share my screen again, and I've highlighted what the Miracle Morning has an acronym called SAVERS, SAVERS. And this is basically how he describes your ideal morning routine. And there could be numerous different things that you do for silence, for affirmation, for visualization, for exercise, for reading, and then scribing. And it's really about making it your own. And the silence piece for me, I'm an only child. I work for myself. The silence piece is key. Not only silence in general in my environment, but silence up here so I can get clear on what I'm doing. What piece of this, of Savers, resonates with you guys, and what needs help? Like, what are you a rock star at, and what needs help?
For me, I do really well at the silence. That's usually where I get my best ideas. Or the affirmations. I get some pretty good ideas there usually. I don't do a lot of visualization daily. My exercise routine is not consistent. I do the reading or listening. I do some of each. And journaling I do pretty close to every day.
Okay.
So I would say my ones that could use work would be the visualization and the exercise.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
So I started a practice on September 20th of 2020 that's become a daily habit since, and I miss a few days every once in a while, but usually I do it. And the first part is I take a walk. I get up about 4:35, and then I take a walk for 30 minutes. And sometimes I just listen to myself. I watch myself talk or think, like watch the stream sort of go through and just say, and then I use a Socratic kind of questioning, like, why did I think that? What's underneath that? And then whatever emotions come up, I let them come, and nobody sees me that early, so I can get away with it. So I do that, and sometimes I won't do that, and I'll listen to something. Like for a while, it was secular Buddhism podcast, and then I did Joe Dispenza, one of his meditations for a while. Now I'm doing Jack Kornfield, so it just kind of switches. And then I come back home, I do Tai Chi for about 15, 20 minutes. And then after that, I sit down and I start reading stuff, and that's it. And then I'll do this journaling kind of stuff throughout the day or occasionally, sort of depending on what I'm thinking. Visualization, I do all the time, like all day long. I'm visualizing kind of what I want, so it happens. Affirmation, probably don't do that much. And exercise, I don't really do aerobic kind of exercise, and my eating habits are good, but too much. So like, I'm not happy with kind of physically where I'm at. But I don't know how to fit anything else in.
You can fit intermittent fasting in, and I will tell you that it's made such a huge difference in my mental clarity and focus and my energy levels throughout the day. I'll recommend a great book. It's called Fast, Feast, Repeat by Jen Stevens. written in layman's terms. You know, you don't have to have a nutrition degree to understand it.
Okay.
And she explains a lot about, you know, as we age, we lose autophagy, which is that cell cleaning process, and intermittent fasting encourages that. And I will tell you, I've been doing a much longer fast till 4 p.m. and only eating between 4 and 6 p.m. and then fasting again. And I'm sleeping better. The scale has finally started to move. I'm more focused. I have 110% more energy than when I was trying to like diet and restrict. And,
Yeah.
you know, now I eat just, well, I'm staying a little higher protein, more on that to be discussed, but pretty much whatever I want. I'm not restricting like, oh, just have a salad. So I feel more free when it comes to that. But yeah,
That's
happy
great.
to talk
Thanks.
about that more with you.
Yeah,
So,
I'll check that out.
All right, so go ahead, Lisa.
okay, I just wanted to say that a few things. I am an end of day person. So my morning really, if I were to do these things, a morning thing, it would be more an end of day situation for me. And the next morning I would just jump into my day.
Yeah.
And my schedule isn't around meditation or exercise or any of these very wonderful. This is a great list. I know it's wonderful, but my schedule revolves around the animals and the farm needs.
But
And
think about,
but
you know, you're outside in nature, you're getting exercise, you're mindful about caring for your animals. I'm sure you're probably talking to them too, but you're also enjoying the silence of nature. So
yes,
I see what you do as a moving morning routine. Honestly,
I
do.
agree with that completely. And there's more in that conversation, I know, but I also want to mention too that I don't have a situation with like having calls and having mentor groups. Not mentor groups, like what Larry was describing. So my connection, so the beginning, you were talking about what do you do differently? What do you want to do differently, or something, your story that you tell yourself. So my products are my animals, my wholesale retail. I mean, the actual animal, selling the animal, showing the animal, and I need to sell some animals. So I've been considering what to do, knowing my ideal customer and knowing my regional environment here with potential buyers, and then the ones who would need to transport their animals. So as far as, I have some wonderful females that I need to sell, at least 2 this coming year. And I'm thinking, okay, I have not been able to show to get the ribbons for the people who buy because of ribbons and show results, which is really not always the best way to go. But anyway, there's a farm in Vermont that I've called yesterday, and they're wonderful people. Try to enlist a breeder, one of their boys, who has been a multi-champion, to breed him to one of my girls, to make it like a deal, a major deal, versus using one of my animals that hasn't been to the shows, that doesn't have the ribbon background because of logistics and such. And she's agreeable to it. So I can get a champion bred to one of my girls and then be able to sell with that behind her. And frequently they don't, the person supplying the purchased breeding guarantees a live birth, but they don't generally transfer that to a new owner. And I've been talking with Jen, who is the breeder, and asking her if she would be willing to add that to the contract for this particular situation. And she's strongly considering it. So that's again, that usually I would talk myself out of it. That's part of the story. Historically, I would just say, there's no way she's going to do this or that. I've never heard of such a thing, but I'm like, well, why not just approach it? Am I making sense in how I'm describing the
Yeah,
situation?
so, to take the business details out of what you're saying and apply that to the morning routine or nighttime routine, if you were to write about that, for your own, thought process, there's so much clarity that would come if instead of, thinking about on repeat those things, just write about it and
Okay.
see what comes. If you do a Google search for morning pages is just a process of getting up and writing 3 pages. Doesn't matter what it is, you just get all of your, oh, I think I should do this, and I think I should do this, and all of that chatter that happens, and it frees you from that. And that's part of the morning routine process. I really think it would help you, even if you
Okay.
do it at night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our next little topic, well, they talk about Hal's story, which is absolutely incredible if you haven't heard his story. It also encourages you to look at your own life story and where you've overcome setbacks in the past. So each one of us have had setbacks in our life or our business that we have overcome, and we can use those things, those stories, or those happenings, and what did we do to overcome those things. It's part of what we help our clients or our customers do. But in order to communicate that, we need to know your own story, really look into that. So that's part of the book, knowing your own setbacks. And then the level 10 life thing, I thought this was really interesting. Settling for less than. If you're currently settling for less than in any area of your life, that can leave you feeling unsatisfied, unconnected, unfinancially rewarded, and maybe even leave you a little unhappy or disconnected. I'd love to talk a little bit about which area of your life, and whether it's happiness, health, money, freedom, love, success, where are you settling for less? And what do you need to do to turn the knob up on that area? And I'll go first if you want. My level of success has always been determined on people's relationships with me. So if I knew someone, they would become a client. If I talked to someone, they would become a client. If I spoke to a group, I would receive a client from it. And I fully believed that I could hack that system in some way. And I would struggle on creating a funnel or an automated thing or some sort of process that would make me not have to meet people, but I would just receive money. And it didn't work. I don't know how many different things I tried over the years. It was always about people's relationship with me. And when I finally realized that, I was able to increase my income by increasing the amount of deeper relationships I had, so those key referral partners, and then be able to realize, my clients are coming from my community. My clients are coming when I have calls and interact with people. My clients are coming from when I'm in someone else's community and I show up like a rock star, like a go-giver. So why aren't I doing more of that? And it fixed. I don't have an automated offer. I don't need it. And that feels better to me.
Wow,
So
you really hit me. Sorry, go ahead.
it's okay. It's okay. What hit you?
Oh, this is exactly what's going on with me too.
Hmm.
So I've been following, oh, well, a lot of it's Naval, Ravikant, but then his followers, this one guy on Twitter, Dan Coe in particular, and then the big guy on LinkedIn with this is Justin Welsh.
Yeah, I love
There's quite a
Justin.
few other ones, and I'm
Mhm.
just enamored. And then I'm, and I've been studying Todd Brown's funnel kind of stuff and
Mhm.
and the unique mechanism and approach and just all this. And I was just absolutely convinced myself it was going to work. It didn't work.
Mhm. I
None
know.
of it. It didn't work. And I'm like, what the hell? Why do I have to keep talking to people all the time? I just want to learn stuff and teach people. Like, I don't want to have to keep doing this,
Mhm.
you know. And I'm really good at it, and I can fill up my calendar overnight. I'm like, I just
Yeah,
do it. It's easy for me,
yeah.
but I don't want to do it anymore. I've been doing it my whole life. I tried this other thing, it didn't work. And so what I've done recently is I've lowered my expectations. I've just kind of said,
Huge.
all right, I'm going to be where I am, and I'm going to stop trying to figure that content play out. I'm just not going to do it. The whole idea is you become the best in the world at one thing, and you build your audience for it, and then you build digital products for them. And that's fundamentally the Naval Ravikant idea, and you get leverage,
Yeah.
the content or the code. And I'm like, that's what I want.
Hmm.
Can't do it. And it's like, is this just me? Am I just not suited for that? And I'm
No,
supposed
I
to
mean,
be
I thought
able to
that
do
for
something else, or am I just not ready for it?
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. I think it's more nuanced than that. Um, I have a friend who's a coach who all of her client attraction stuff is automated. So you land on her website, you watch a video,
Yeah.
watch a 5-minute video, and then you register for a master class that's an hour. It's another video from her. I've watched the videos and I'm like, I wouldn't pay for anything that you're offering from those videos, but her ideal client is not someone like me. So
Right.
that's, I think you have to really understand who you're going after in a different way, not just, are they going to buy my stuff, but how do they like to be sold to? I'd say 95% of my clients have bought things in the past and are disillusioned. They have spent 10, 20,000 or more on a coaching program or package and not gotten any results.
Mm.
They are hesitant to purchase with somebody else again. So I had to realize that and say, well, how do I make people feel safer than they've ever felt before? That's my guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
How do I attract people and not prove myself, but almost say, I don't care. Like I want to help you, but if you don't want to try something different, and that was leaning into my own uniqueness almost. So
Wow.
by me leaning into my uniqueness, I'm able to help other people do that.
It's the same thing. So with my partner, we came up with this idea of the virtual campus, solopreneuring virtual campus, and we opened it just $100 a month, almost like a break-even funnel, and then start to create products and upsells and stuff like that. And it's just not quite working. It's just not working right. So I opened it up for free with a mastermind on Wednesday, my workshop on Thursday, I've been doing for 2 years, and then tons of recordings and stuff in the platform for free. And all of a sudden I got all these tick, 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 tick people signing up. And then I'm like, $100 a month if you want to talk to me. And then you got a link to calendar. So we got a few people on that. Well, I was like, well, what am I going to do now? It's going to take like years to make money doing this. So I thought, all right, let me open up what I don't want to do. So I did a $5,000 guaranteed double your income in 6-week program,
Mhm.
or not double your income, but double your investment with me. So you make 10 grand, or I'll keep working with you until we get there. Next day, first person closed.
That's what I'm talking about.
Next day. And I think it's the age range in part.
Maybe.
So I think when you get 40 up, which is my client base, which is also the people who are a little savvier now, they're kind of like, I don't believe that stuff anymore. You know, if you get who's I'm in Dan Coe's community, they're all 26 years old.
Yeah.
It's different.
Mhm.
I think you both have nailed it. I mean, Suzanne, like you described where I'm at. Like my trust factor is 0.
Of course it is.
0. And Larry, I think all the time, like, okay, if you're so confident that you're going to help me do X, let's have you have some skin in the game and help me until I get there, because then I am freaking happy to write you that check. But don't promise me this bullshit that you're going to give me 10K by doing XYZ, because you're now coaching coaches because you could not coach. I'm not saying that. I'm blanketly saying that I am finding that many coaches now coach coaches because they were not drawing in the income that they needed because they were struggling with meeting their
Where's
clients.
my microphone? I'm gonna drop my microphone.
It's this is almost like a tape loop. What
Yeah.
you're saying, I've heard it like over and
Right.
over
But
and
you
over.
both succinctly nailed it. And I'm thinking, like, why am I struggling nailing talking to the people who I know who I can help? Because the people who I have helped, that is my success.
Mhm.
If I look at my bank account, I'm a complete failure. If I look at the success of my clients, I am way up here. I love what I do, the joy of where they are at, the changes, their recommendations, their testimonials. Why can I not double and triple those people who come into my life? Where is my funnel, whether it is through a thing or through this? I have not to this point yet figured out what that looks like.
Yeah.
And you guys, just nailed how
I think we both know the answer to it.
Mhm.
You build
Because
you build a basically it's a sales pipeline of people you're serving and helping with some,
But
free
yeah.
connecting stuff
Yes,
and all.
and
yes,
and
And it's a lot. It's a lot of free content. It's a lot of
there's
meetings.
also an energy behind it, and I hate to go to the too woo-woo here, but I will say that when I met my mentor a year and a half ago, and I was in a place where, okay, I had gotten to here, and every time I tried to get to the next level of income, I'll just say
your next goal.
the next financial goal, I would get knocked back farther because I had invested 5 or 10 or 20,000. So
Right.
now I have to up level and make 20,000 more to pay back that before I'm more. Oh my God, and when I met her, we had a little talk about my belief in me, my belief that I needed someone else to show me how to do it. And that was huge because I resist any traditional marketing. I resist a funnel. I resist automation. I resist paid ads. Don't want to do it. I want to do things my way. And she looked at me and said, when you do things your way, are you successful? I'm like, yeah. She said, so raise your prices and go out there and do it your way.
Yeah.
And it was like getting a
Permission.
prescription.
It was permission. She gave
It
you
was a
permission.
prescription pad. She said, do you want me to write it on a prescription pad for you? It's all in your own head. I hate to say it, but if you change the energy behind and the value of your service. Casey, what has happened to you in the past 2 weeks? And what are you doing different that you got those new clients? What do you think is the difference?
I gave up on, I can't do it myself. I have to have somebody else's help to do it.
Same thing. Hmm.
I was just looking while you guys are talking to see how much I've spent in education this last year, because
Oh,
I'm an accountant, so of course I know that number.
of course.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Mhm.
Like
And
87,000 scary.
I want to wrap up today, but this is an awesome conversation, and maybe we need to continue the business conversation at some point. Larry, you know how I feel about your knowledge base and what you're doing. Happy to talk about it anytime. But I will say, Casey and I knew each other for probably almost 10 years in the online space. And I saw what she was doing and I really wanted to help her. She wasn't at a point because of investing in other people that she could afford to invest with me. And what did I do? I approached her and I said, what can you afford? You know, here's my monthly fee. What can you do to work with me while you're finishing out working with those other people? And now our relationship, she's one of the experts in my community, along with Judy. And we now have a different relationship. She's not my client anymore. She's my equal. And we're building community together. And I knew I saw that potential in her, whether I told her or not. But she stepped up in this huge way because of she's hanging out with people who have goals like that. Instead of paying to be in a program that she thinks she's going to get results, it's different now.
Yes.
So thank you, Casey, for being
Yep.
my case study today.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. All right. We didn't finish early today,
Thank you.
but thanks, guys. Talk to
Bye.
y'all soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.